Well, it is the week of Thanksgiving, and I am finally, I think, going to get to do something that I've been wanting to do for quite a while. Finally got all the bits and pieces together, and we'll see how much I get done. This, to the best of my knowledge, is white oak. I took down a pretty good sized tree, and best I can tell, that's what it is. So that is a great log for mushroom inoculation. Specifically Shitake, and I've got 3 different strains. I brought one out today. You can see this one, and this is the WR, I believe, is wide range, so it's not really a cold or a warm, it's kind of a in the middle. And these are some of the biggest diameter logs that I grabbed, and apparently it works through the softer wood on that, so I'm not sure if that means just the first little inch or so or all the way down into here. That's definitely heartwood. So I've got those logs, and then I've got a whole bucket load, and then I've got a whole tree. Some of them are pretty small diameter, some of them are kind of short, some are longer. First time for doing these, and what I'm hoping with the small ones is simply that they will colonize faster, fruit faster. They won't last near as long, but that'll at least get me going. Get some in the pipeline and start being able to harvest them, see what I can do with them, see if I can sell them, something of that nature. And then as I take down more hardwoods and identify them, oaks especially, I've got plenty of oaks out here, or other hardwoods, I'll just continue to take appropriate size logs for mushroom logs, so that just about any tree that I take down, it's going to be either for wood chips, leaves, firewood, mushroom logs, or lumber. Nothing will, as best I can, nothing's going to go to waste. But I've got 3 of these 5-pound bags. How many logs it will do will depend on the size of the logs, how many holes I'll put in. But you can see a lot of different videos out about people doing this and how they do them, North Spore and stuff like that. But I do have my Ryobi grinder. I've got their dedicated bit. I've got their inoculator, palm inoculator instead of the finger one, so a little bit bigger. And then inside, and this is one of the things I've been waiting on to be able to do all this, is I need power, because you got to melt wax. And rather than trying to do a double burner or anything, I've just got a small crock pot. Actually, I've got about 3 different ones of these. And I had been using them previously for melting and processing beeswax. That's the wax that I have. I think I do have a small crock pot back at the house. It's got some cheese wax in it, but this is what I've got right now, so that's what I'm going to use. And basically, you just turn it on, let it melt down, and use some kind of a paintbrush, dauber, or something of that nature to put wax over the holes once it's been filled with the mushroom spawn. And what I'm using to power all this is a solar system. So I've got currently 3 panels on the roof, about 600 watts capability, although I'm not going to get near that much until I can get some more limbs cleared out and the panels angled correctly. They're just laying flat on top of the shipping container and being held down. But yes, I've just got a light going on. I've just got those 3 panels coming in series, coming in through a Renogy Rover into a lithium-ion battery that I built, and then I've got a Harbor Freight 3,000 watt inverter for the AC, modified sine wave. Crock pots aren't that critical, so they don't necessarily need the pure sine wave for that. But so I am going to bash that up into some powder, not all of it, but most of it, and use this as my container for it. And then I've got a lid for it that I can put on there and see how many we can get going. Actually, I'm a bit surprised. I thought it might have been colonized a little bit more through, but we shall see. What you doing? Oh, it's okay, buddy. It's okay. Poor Kilo there. I mean, he's a friendly dog, but I get the sneaking suspicion he's been abused a little bit, because he's getting more and more friendly, but he's still, any really sudden movements, he's real skittish about. So I get the feeling that somewhere at some point someone's been not too kind to him. Right? Right? Is it just the glasses that make me look different? Some of this, I'm not sure how much colonization there is. I'm just going to mix it up a lot. I guess I expected it to be colonized almost to the point of fruiting, and that may not be the case for spawn when you're inoculating. I have had these for a couple of weeks, and these bags, and they've been in a refrigerator. And one bag this size, either on this video or another video I'll show you, I already put, it's a wine cap, which apparently can grow on a lot of different things. So it doesn't just have to be like a specific hardwood or hardwood in general, but it can be on wood chips, it can be on straw, it can be on all kinds of things. And I've got a couple of IBC totes that are cut in half that are used as raised beds. You may have seen on a previous video or not. But the compost and the material that's in that, I grew beets and stuff in this last year, but moving them, I got really mixed up, and there is a lot of organic material, a lot of wood chip type stuff, shredded leaves, fairly well broken down, but quite a bit. So I just put one whole bag of the wine cap into those two IBC totes. I do have glasses on because I do not want sawdust or wood chips shavings in my eyes. They're not full-on safety glasses, but I want to be able to see what I'm doing. So make sure it's turning the right direction. And again, you can find a lot of other videos. People have been doing this a lot longer. But basically about every 4 to 6 inches in a straight line, turn it, and then offset about halfway. So if I go, well, we'll see. We'll just kind of do, I think I'm going to turn my handle to the other side. For this. And I do have extra batteries and a charger going. Okay, so is this not going to be quite I need a better battery. Because if this doesn't work, then I'm going to need another grinder. It's got a lot more power, and that's going to really tax my solar system. I'm out here much later in the day than I would like. I would have liked to have been out here a little before noon so that I can make more use of the solar panels. At this point, with the sun down that low, I'm pretty much running purely on battery. So I don't know how many of these I'm going to get done no matter what. Interesting. Okay. Yeah, this is trying to go slow, but that bit is so aggressive, it's just digging in. You know, at this point, I'd be better off with just a regular drill. It was the same voltage, so I don't know that it'll make a whole lot of difference. I'm just packing the spawn in there. Yeah, if this doesn't work, I may have to load the logs and everything into the truck or onto a trailer and take it back to the house where I can have more power. So there's one row, and then the next row will need to go kind of in between a little bit. Twig to keep it rolled up. Better. Okay, so it looks like this one will do it. We'll see for how long, but probably this is an 18 volt. Maybe something a little more powerful might do a little better. seen some people that when they get their station really up and going, they've actually got these on some little rollers or something that will really help it stay in place. And the reason these holes are staggered is not some scientific, biological thing that if you don't do that it won't work. It basically is just spreading the spawn. I mean, I could put twice as many holes in there, twice as much spawn, and it would colonize that much faster, but then I'd be using that much more spawn and on that fewer logs. So it just kind of depends on how fast you want it to colonize and how much spawn you want to use per log. Yeah, it's the sapwood. It finally came to me. It's the sapwood that this feeds on. So while there is some moss and stuff on the outside, this gets it right down in the middle of that sapwood where it can spread out faster and outcompete anything else. Now this tree was taken down, I don't know, a week and a half, 2 weeks ago. There seems to be one school of thought that you can do green trees immediately, you can do dormant trees immediately. You need to let them rest for a few weeks, up to 2 or 3 months. I've heard people say that if you use them fresh, as soon as they're cut, they've actually got more or less an antibiotic kind of compound or reaction that they'll fight, that it will still work, but it might take longer than if you let it rest for a while, but then you got to worry about it drying out. So I'm not sure. I think it will work either way, and if you're really trying to dial it in for commercial production, you can probably figure out what's going to end up working better. Now I am in northeast Arkansas, probably about an hour from Memphis, so about the same latitude as Memphis. It is supposed to be freezing tonight, just barely, like 30 degrees, and a possibility within this week of another night. So we do have freezing nights, but we don't have weeks of teens and zeros. Okay, so I've got all the holes filled, and now I'm going to take it inside, and hopefully there's enough wax melted that I can cover these, and we shall see.